What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. And before I get into this video, as always, I'd like to remind you guys, if you want to donate to my channel, if you want to show love to my channel, you can do so in the links provided in the description box below via the PayPal or the Cash App. But I strongly urge you guys to come over and sign up to the Patreon, man. I'm able to talk about stuff on Patreon that I cannot talk about on YouTube. Okay, on the Patreon, I'm totally uncensored, unfiltered. I'm totally too raw for TV. I got some of you guys signed up already. Thank you guys who have signed up already. Thank you all. But for the rest of you guys, come on over and bring your stinking asses over there to the Patreon. Let's make it a Patreon nation. And thank all you guys who have donated to my channel. Okay. Now, Metta World Peace recently said that he believes that he should be in the Hall of Fame based on his defense. Makes me wonder if he's seen my video recently. I was talking about Dennis Rodman. Kind of coincidental. Um, with Metta World Peace, man, I think this is how I feel about it. I think I think he falls short personally. I just think he falls short of Hall of Fame status. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take that shit more seriously. You know what I'm saying? I listen to some of my subscribers and some of the people they think they should be in the Hall, and I just don't. I'm not trying to say a lot of you guys aren't. Don't know what y'all talking about, but I think some of you guys are kind of young, man, and some of you guys may not have a grasp of history yet, man. Like, because with some of the criteria that some of you guys have, everybody's gonna get in the Hall of Fame. Like a third of the league is gonna be in the Hall of Fame, and then it cheapens the Hall of Fame. You can't have Michael Jordan in the Hall of Fame, and then the same token have a guy like Pedro Stojakovic in the Hall of Fame. Then what is the Hall of Fame? You know what I'm saying? You're making it the Hall of good. Nah, it shouldn't be like that, man. Some of these dudes, I don't know if they should be in the Hall. With Metta World Peace, this is the thing. I mean, Jack Sigma just got in. I don't know if Jack Sigma's a Hall of Famer. I don't know. It's a reason why Jack Sigma wasn't getting in all those years. Now all of a sudden he's in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. Like I said in the video before, I think Sigma's getting in because he kind of fits into the style of play now. Like Jack Sigma 20 years ago, he wasn't your traditional center in a lot of ways. Now, with the style of play that centers are expected to have now, quote unquote skilled, Jack Sigma is like the precursor to that. So now it's a whole different way of looking at Jack Sigma's career. As far as Metta World Peace is concerned, formerly known as Artest, I don't know. Like, I mean, you look at the accomplishments. Let me look at the accomplishments right quick. All right. Now I think that Metta World Peace, aka Ron Artest, is one of the greatest defensive players in the history of the NBA. I do believe that. Um, but I think the same thing of Alvin Robertson. And Alvin Robertson will never get into the Hall of Fame for obvious reasons. Of course, okay, Metta World Peace is the NBA champion, 2009, 2010. He was a one-time All-Star, 2003, 2004. All-NBA third team, 2004. NBA Defensive Player of the Year winner, 2003, 2004. Two times All-NBA Defensive First Team, 2004 and 2006. Two-time All-Defensive NBA Second Team, 2003 and 2009. NBA All-Rookie Second Team, 2000. The J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award, 2011. Third Team All-American, Associated Press, NABC, 1999. The Haggerty Award, this is college stuff, 1999. First Team All-Big East, 1999. And of course, he went to St. John's University. Now, Ron Artest, it's like I look at that and it pales in comparison as far as accomplishments with Dennis Rodman, of course, who won 5 NBA championships. I think he was a two-time All-Star. Led the NBA in rebounding 7 consecutive years. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. It's just hard, wherever Dennis Rodman went, when his mind was right, that team instantly became a championship contending or at least an improved NBA team. It's just hard to, you know, I don't know. I know Metta World Peace was a better scorer than Rodman. I think he had 1 year averaging 20 points per game. I think it was the Kings. His best years, he averaged like 18, 19 points per game. He was a volume scorer. He was not a great shooter. Um, he, I think for his career, shot like 40% from the floor. Not a great three-point shooter. A volume. He was the epitome of a volume scorer as far as Ron Test is concerned. Not that was his forte, scoring per se, but he could score. Um, just not. That just wasn't his niche. You know what I'm saying? Um, if that makes any sense, he could score, but he wasn't known as a primary scorer. What he was known for was his defense. I think he was like a 32% three-point shooter. So, um, I think he was an average rebounder for his size, 6'7", 246 when he came in the league, about 267, 260 all muscle. Um, Average passer, but he had high basketball IQ and was a tremendous defensive player, just a rock. Strong as an ox, strong hands. Could not move this guy defensively. Um, Quick hands, often were among the leaders in steals. If I haven't said it before, I think I said it. I'm not sure, but one of the years that Ben Wallace won Defensive Player of the Year, you can make the argument that it should have gone to Metta World Peace, but politics probably played a role in that. I think it did play a role in that because of the incident that I'll mention soon. Um, I think Metta World Peace made the teams that he played on better. The Baby Bulls, they just sucked. Earlier on in his career, that was like one of the first teams or the first eras where people really were complaining about these guys were making all this money, but saying they didn't really care about winning anymore. They just cared about putting up numbers. But you could tell that Metta World Peace cared about winning. He was a very, very intense person. Um, Earlier on in his career, he had a hard time reining in that intensity. Um, Very hard time. Almost to the point where some guys thought that he was borderline social psychotic, which he was not. He just come from a different environment. You know what I'm saying? Infamously, he broke Michael Jordan's ribs in a pickup game back when Michael was trying to ready himself up for his return to the basketball ranks with the Washington Wizards. And supposedly Michael Jordan was never the same player after that. Um, Trying to see what I want to say here. Um, the biggest knock on Metta World Peace is going to be that he was at the eye of the hurricane, which was the Malice at the Palace. Okay, we all know what happened. You know what I'm saying? It was a foul that he committed against Ben Wallace, and I think Ben Wallace wasn't even in the right mind of. I think he wasn't in his right mind at the time. I think something happened as far as like a death in his family, but he chose to play anyway, and it led to a altercation between him and Ron Artest. Most people thought it was over with. Ron Artest stretched out on the scores table, but it was when a fan got involved, throwing I think what was it a can of beer or whatever. That's when it led to the ugliest incident in NBA history. You know what I'm saying? I remember watching it. It was just surreal. It was surreal watching guys, NBA players going into the stands. Now, I remember when Vernon Maxwell got to an incident where he punched a guy in the stands. You know what I'm saying? But this was more prolonged than that. Like, and it was multiple players, and you had guys coming off the, fans coming off of coming into. What I'm trying to say. You had fans actually coming on the court and actually confronting players, and but when you was watching it, you know what I'm saying, you also could see an ugly element enter into the thing. You know what I'm saying? That was the racial element. I noticed that the fans were primarily targeting black players, not just all players. They were also throwing things at black team officials, but they weren't throwing it at the white officials. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it 100. But that incident really hurt not only Ron Artest's reputation, not only his career, um, for a while, obviously his pockets, but it also hurt Reggie Miller's chance at winning a championship because up until that point, that Pacers team was probably the best team in the NBA. And that would have been his best chance, in my opinion, Reggie Miller winning a championship. That was, of course, his last season. That Pacers team possibly could have won a championship that year, but that ended everything, you know. And Ron Artest eventually asked for a trade, and he was traded to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Peja Siakovic. And there was some success there, and they were, there was some success with the Sacramento Kings. But of course, Artest wanted a championship. He wasn't going to win a championship with that team. And I believe he was traded to the Houston Rockets. I believe it was him, Yao Ming, and Tracy McGrady. And it wasn't until he went to the Lakers that Artest found what he was looking for, which was an NBA championship. And he was very instrumental in that championship run in 2009, 2010. I remember he was very big in that game 7 when Kobe was not at his best. Um, I remember him having a pivotal putback in that game. And ultimately, the Lakers were able to edge out the Boston Celtics in 7 to win the title, which was Kobe's 5th and Ron Artest's 1st. And then I think it was a year or some change after that when he changed his name to Metta World Peace. And he played on all the way through 2017. Of course, not being the same player he was toward the end of those years. But I don't know. I think when you look at the grand scheme of things, I just don't see a Hall of Fame career. I don't know. I just don't see a Hall of Famer. I'm trying to think of someone I could compare his career to. I mean, to me, he's better than Michael Cooper. I mean, um, just trying to think of someone I could compare his career to. It's like It's like putting Anthony Mason on a championship. Like let's just put Anthony Mason's career, okay, on trial right quick. Look at Anthony Mason, and rest in peace to Anthony Mason. There's no knock on him. I'm just trying to look at something right quick. All right, Anthony Mason for his career averaged 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Played what was it? 15 seasons, I believe. No, 12 seasons. So they didn't play quite as many seasons 13 seasons. He played 13 seasons. All right. So he came in with the Nets and the Nuggets. Of course, he had his best years with the Knicks and the Hornets. Played one season with Miami and finished his career in the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, let's just say he was able to win a championship during that time period. Let's just say he was able to win a championship during that time period. Let's say it was the Knicks. Let's say it was the 94 Knicks he was able to win a championship. Okay. Um, look at his accomplishments. He was a one-time All-Star, All-NBA third team, All-NBA defensive second team 1 year, six-man of the year winner in 1995. Okay. I think his career is a little bit better than Mason's. You know what I'm saying? A little bit better player than Mason, but I just don't know if Ron Artest is a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm all out of bounds here. Maybe some guys will be like, look, man, look, this is what you're not looking at. You're not looking at this, you're not looking at that. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't see him being a Hall of Famer. I think he's close, but when you got to think about it and debate it, then I think that means the guy's not a Hall of Fame. But tell me what you guys think.